Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
Two years ago, when we came to post-revolution Tunisia, education was still suffering. But reform was top of the to-do list. Today, has anything changed? What are the prospects for the future? Join me, Maha Barada, in Tunisia, now in Learning World. Declining student performance, high dropout rates, lack of resources, and teachers pushed to their limits. These are some of the persistent problems still troubling Tunisia. I'm visiting schools like this one and speaking to local experts to find out what's being done and whether any progress has been made.
Graith and two of his brothers are now back in school after dropping out for some time. Living in a dire situation, his parents could not afford basic schooling demands. Thanks to the campaign Back to School for Out-of-School Children, a collaboration between UNICEF and the government, these students have been offered housing, basic clothing, a school bag, stationery and other resources to help them resume learning.
I want my children to learn so that they can have a profession. They can be trained, they can talk to people and answer questions. I hope God enlightens their way. I'm happy for them.
Due to a lack of proper evaluation measures, 14-year-old Gaith doesn't know how to read or write. He's getting extra help at school.
In the past era and with past policy, we used to work on the quantity and not the quality, which means we used to ensure the biggest number of students made the transition from elementary to intermediate levels without taking into consideration their grades, relying on non-objective elevation measures.
More than 100,000 students dropped out of school in 2012. Now, with the reforms, some 15,000 are back studying. While social reasons, poverty and distance from school are some of the causes behind high dropout rates, it's also about the quality of education.
I think it's multi-factor. I think the dropout rate is due to the quality education. Quality is within the teachers. We have to look why a teacher not coming to the school, not teaching. And often they don't because maybe they don't have the adequate training, maybe they don't have the material to teach, maybe the surrounding, the school is not fit for them really to teach. The content, what are they teaching?
Teacher training's now being developed by the Ministry of Education. Euronews asked these educators to explain what they are learning.
Can you please explain to me what this exercise is about?
The goal behind this activity is to train the teacher on delivering phonetics so that he can feel the difficulties that the student suffers when he or she tries to make the same sounds. The teachers need training to improve their skills, develop the teaching practices, especially as neuroscience nowadays has added a lot to learning and studying the ways of learning.
Quality of education and declining student performance have made many families resort to private tutoring at home to help improve their children's results. These lessons are costing Tunisians around $500 million annually, according to official estimates, and not everyone can afford them. The government's taken measures to restrict support lessons to schools. Now taking fledgling steps to reforming education, one man in office aims to make a radical change.
The Tunisian education system doesn't suit the 21st century, whether it's the infrastructure, the curriculum, the books, or the quality of paper and images. The school has to adapt to the development of people and to the normal growth of the Tunisian child.
Last time I was here, I met Dr. Hayat Omri, who has won international recognition for her scientific work. Today, she's a member of the Tunisian parliament. The educational hurdles she faced have made her determined to change things for young Tunisians. I met her to see what solutions she envisages for the future.
From this farm in Rekab, Sidi Bouzid, emerged many of the experiments Hayat did as a student. At that time, scientific research in Tunisia was underfunded. Many universities suffered a lack of resources and laboratories were under-equipped. Today, nothing much has changed.
The last budget approved in Parliament in 2015 was 5% of the national budget for the whole higher education sector. Scientific research had 0.34% of it. Of course I'm not satisfied with this amount.
How is this affecting universities and higher education? Hayat is quick to point out the inequalities in the system.
I am very surprised to see the situation of laboratories that are more like ones for schools and not universities. There are huge disparities between institutions in the capital and those in coastal or inner parts of the country.
This is a well-equipped institution in the capital, but Tunisian authorities do not rank highly internationally. Student performance is low and unemployment is high.
Not everyone who teaches at university is qualified. Some of them have the skills, but there are other teachers hired according to their political affiliations or other non-professional criteria. On the other hand, there is no true evaluation of the professors throughout the year. In Tunisia, until now, we imported education systems that were not always successful and that were parachuted in without preparing the right conditions. University studies do not match the economic environment at all. Today, unemployment is the biggest problem that is facing Tunisia, and this could lead to lots of problems like crime, unofficial migration and terrorism.
Some of the proposed reforms that are being discussed in Parliament are giving universities more independence in resourcing, restructuring institutions and bridging the gaps between them, giving more value to scientific research and making agreements with international institutions to help improve student performance.
This national reform will not happen in a year or two. It needs years to be radical and structural for the whole system. Reforming higher education will not happen unless there is a clear development plan. And accordingly, universities should be directed to serve the national economy, job markets and graduates.
الاقتصاد الوطني وحتى يخدم سوق الشغل وحتى يخدم خريجي الجامعات.
Are you Tunisian? What do you think of the educational situation? Are you satisfied with the planned reforms? Let us know on our social media pages. Goodbye from Tunisia.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.